So essentially, Rambo is death. So essentially, Rambo is death. And by them making that deal with the devil to let Rambo be Rambo, even subliminally, if it's going to be taking photographs, Rambo, they know that Rambo is going to do what he needs to do to get the job done. So by letting Rambo be Rambo, it's almost like letting that genie out of the bottle. And if we look at the film adaptation, the first film, it's kind of like, now we're going to get to see Rambo do what he didn't let himself do. So that genie inside, now we're going to see that get out. And the carnage is going to be way bigger than what we saw in the sequel on the big and small screen. Because, you know, even though it's good intent, once you make that deal with the devil, the devil's going to collect. The devil's going to collect. But, you know, some motherfucker's got to always try and ice skate uphill and go his own way and try to think that, you know, it's, you know, it could be covered up or lost to some degree. But that's a big mistake in itself, because we're dealing with fucking Rambo here. So there's an awesome disconnection passage as Rambo sits Buddhistic, you know, in Zen fashion, over a sewer or something like a toilet in his cell, and he pulls a concealed matchbook from his shoe. You know, opens his shoebox, and the guard's looking on pretty worried, with Rambo all like, I could have burnt this motherfucker down anytime I wanted to, escaped anytime I wanted to. So he starts dropping his medals in down that hole one by one into the nothingness. Then burns a picture, one picture at a time, of his friends. You know, one friend here, one friend there, flamingly cascading down one by one into the abyss of darkness below, hissing as they land on whatever wet surface is down there. And he goes one at a time, lighting them up, and he reaches a photo of himself and burns away his youth. You know, he sets that picture on fire, knowing dealing with Murdoch is quintessentially going to be a one-way ticket, no return. You know, because like in the movie, he says to Troutman, you know, my friends died there, part of me died there. So, you know, he reaches that photo of himself and he burns it away, because he knows that, you know, dealing with Murdoch is a one-way ticket, and, you know, maybe he'll come out of it with freedom, or maybe he'll die and be free. You know, so either way, it's going to be like full circle. You know, something positive is definitely going to come out of the negative. And maybe this is Rambo's chance to be redeemed and freed in his mind. Maybe this will lead him to stop fighting himself. So, still unsatisfied with that, he burns the shoebox too. And suddenly, we realize that Rambo is fully reactivated. So Rambo reaches Fort Bragg, watching, you know, cadets, you know, ridiculed by high-ranking officers. A secretary, you know, he looks around, he goes here and there. A secretary gives him a form and a pen to fill out on like one of those handheld flatboard things. And Rambo signs away his life, one form at a time. He joins Murdoch and Troutman, signing his rights away to read the top secret dossier. You know, he breaks the seal, realizes it's a setup, and as they converse together, Murdoch seems more non-trustworthy with every page. It gets pretty psychological. Like, this Murdoch is way more evil than the candy-coated Murdoch we've all come to know and love, the great Charles Napier. Funny note of trivia, the great Papard from A-Team was supposed to play Murdoch back when Murdoch's name was Kirk Hill. So maybe that's why they changed his name to Murdoch when Charles Napier came along. Who knows? But I'm pretty sure that's the reason, because they even talk about A-teams in this one around the same time. So it's pretty psychological. Rambo goes off on Murdoch, completely gets pissed. Like he wants to, pretty much like he wants to kill him for trying to pull one over on him. And Troutman smooths them over. You know, more lies from Murdoch. Rambo takes up the high risk, you know, flashbacks to Tay. To the point where Rambo's holding his shirt, you know, the scars under his chest, because he's in it now. He's like, blood's pumping. You know, something's gonna erupt. Because pretty much Rambo's being played, and he knows it now. You know, Murdoch gives him his papers, birth certificate, passport, ticket, etc. Excitingly stating that they can start bending the rules once Rambo's over the border, which is funny in itself, because that just foreshadows later on how fucking mean-spirited Murdoch is, that he doesn't care. You're a number. That's it. It's about the money. This is all about the money. As we go on, Rambo uncovers more. Rambo gets more pissed off with Murdoch. And we start to see this exchange between them, which is pretty high tension. And even when at the points it seems smoothed over, it's not, because upon leaving, Troutman is warned by Rambo. And Troutman kind of plays possum at Murdoch's request in hopes that he can make everything right. But they're unified. Rambo and Troutman are like, they're on the same page about it. And of course, you know, Murdoch lets things slip later on, and Troutman becomes more aware of just how out of hand this situation is going to get. But it's pretty cool. So we get a cool passage of Rambo on the plane, remembering the last time he saw this skyline, you know, injured, coming home on a cargo plane, and he's uneasy with everyone, you know, walks around the airport a bit, takes a cab, tells the raisin-faced driver, you know, to go and to stop and what to do, and realizing that he's being tailed, jumps out I should say, moving cab, runs a few blocks, flags another cab, repeats the tactic. And he eventually makes his way to his farmhouse contact and gets a Huey. And it's pretty psychological, because Rambo's even thinking, okay, Murdoch gave me a Huey to balance me back into the war and bring back the psychologicalness of being in the war, using those controls in the Huey helicopter, and for a little bit of time, Rambo almost is pretty much in a flashback, and he joyrides a bit, flashing back to Nam and his home and his first car, a blue Chevy, I believe. He ends up reaching the wolf den as Murdoch is telling off on the phone the tale that he had set up on Rambo for fucking up. And this is hilarious, man. These guys are like, he couldn't have seen us on the airplane. He couldn't have seen us in the car. We looked like everybody else. We had the whole enchilada. It's kind of like something out of The Running Man. When Arnold's trying to... they're dressed up kind of like that. Kind of like when Arnold's trying to escape the authorities with Marie Conchita Alonso. It's such an amazing scene. It just really made me think of that. It was pretty cool. So it's wow. It's so Murdoch's starting to realize too that he's underestimating a little bit. Actually, a whole lot. And another great Running Man reference is in the movie First Blood Part 2, in the beginning, the guard who comes to collect Rambo, the one who's like, Rambo! He's actually from The Running Man. He was the security guard in The Running Man. Killian's bodyguard. That, you know, signs Killian's doom, pretty much. Good old buddies with Jesse Ventura. I can't remember his name, but I'll try to bring that up when we get to that. So yeah, it's just like that scene out of The Running Man, you know? Madras slacks, Hawaiian shirts, straw hat, you know, the whole enchilada. It's just really, 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 really funny. So this big three-way argument breaks out between Troutman, Rambo, and Murdoch. We see the father and son, you know, let down, kind of cut down, but trustfully in a sense. And it's a great hypothetical bit, you know. Murdoch believes Rambo is to be, you know, too unbalanced. So Troutman reassures him, and Murdoch learns Rambo's smarter than he appears. And we get the, how should I say? We get the, you know, do we get to win this time? In this scene, actually. And, you know, we get the, this time it's up to you. And the back and forth here, instead of in the intro, like in the first one, we get it back and forth here. So Rambo finds the computer room. And this is where Rambo meets Erickson. And right off the bat, there is like escort service and other remarks. Very disrespectful to Rambo. Rambo was pissed before, and now he's really pissed off because he thinks that, you know, no one is taking this seriously. And Erickson is just a little out of line. Actually, a lot out of line. So tech wizard Murdoch is called off to tend to a CPU malfunction. A password problem that leads us to believe that amongst documents they have on Rambo, that they could just erase him if need be. So he is very expendable, and he realizes it pretty much full force now. So Rambo's informed to meet contact Ko Fung Bao at the rendezvous point, is shown the jet black peregrine rocket with wings that he's gonna go there with. We get Morel's awesome parachute joke, among many, many, many others in this collective chapter. You know, like Rambo really comes across much more like Rambo from 1972. In his really, a lot of that was sick humor, and a lot of this is kind of sick humor, but more on the light side. So it's just really great to see that. Rambo is shown the Transact, how it works. You know, Troutman takes it out, like the radar, dish, infrared, burst, and all, how to operate it and all that stuff, how to decode it. It's brought up to date on the, you know, he's brought up to date on the state of the art tech, you know, that he'll be using. And the way Rambo toys with people here is spot on sarcasm. Like, that made, you know, like the original novel a hit. Very much resembling that great scene from First Blood 1972. The, I have a rash on my face and I'm not allowed to shave. You know, that scene. So this is classic Rambo here. And Murdoch's kind of disenchanted when Rambo asks for an AK-47 over a state-of-the-art Ray-type gun with rocket launcher and all the trimmings. Even has a spot for the camera on a mount on the top, because Murdoch really loves that camera. And you know, Rambo assures him that the AK is to blend in during a gunfight, you know, to mask and to take out, you know, better for the mission. And Troutman gives his hell or home speech, and I love the First Blood channels, you know, right down to naked Rambo's scrotum going up inside his stomach from nerves. It's totally non-gay. And I mean, I love it in a non-gay way, but if people are gay, you know what? I love that too, because everyone's gay. Because to me, to be gay means to be happy. So let's be happy and continue looking at this.